Okay, so just addressing injuries first, same as yesterday. So the players are not in the building this today, so I have a better idea as the week goes on as far as availability for our guys for the game or in or out. So after watching the tape, having a chance to meet with the coaches this morning, I feel the exact same way I felt yesterday after the game. We didn't play good enough. I'll start with a couple positives though, right? So I thought our special teams units played their butts off. Those guys were extremely effective. Tor did a great job, punting all day. The other point of emphasis that I kind of made to the entire group was eliminating pre-snap penalties, so being a more disciplined football team, which we did that. We did have two post-snap penalties, but the overall goal is to continue to try to find ways to be more detailed in that area of the field. So that's a positive. And also, I think there's no quit or a lack of fight for our players when it comes to how they prepare and obviously how they finish the game. No one quit. We're not going to be cowards as coaches or players, right? So circumstances don't matter as far as our approach. We'll continue to be aggressive towards that. And I would say, well, probably one of the more frustrating things about it is I feel like not felt I knew we had a great week of preparation, probably one of our best of the entire year. What we got to figure out is why didn't it translate to the game day? So it starts first with me as a head coach, but also to all of our coaches to try to find ways to be better communicators, to put our guys in better spots, and be more effective. Offensively, here's where our issues were, right? So the start of the game, the floor of the game, we got to do a better job of trying to find some sequences to put us in to stay on the grass and be effective in that regard. So that's got to be able to change. I know I probably will get the question, so I'll go ahead and address it again. I don't tell our guys to start the game slow. So if I had an answer to that, the problem had already been fixed. But we'll be aggressive towards that to find the solution when it comes to how we put plays together to get our guys in a better rhythm early in the game. Because when we go in at halftime, we don't draw up new plays or put in new formations and motions. It's about us being able to adjust and adapt a little bit faster and early in the game to kind of to be more effective to get the game rolling with that. We're not nearly effective enough when it comes to creating explosives. So I think we only had two yesterday in general, which is well below our standard overall from an offensive standpoint. So we'll be aggressive towards trying to find ways to hunt that up and be aggressive with that. On the defensive side of the ball, starts first just with the communication. I had, too many issues bust on the back end when it comes to coverage wise. It's got to be more tied in detail with that, which we'll do a better job of that going forward. And when it comes to limiting explosives, we gave up way too many explosives, especially early in the game. That obviously gives their play caller, Kyle Shanahan, an opportunity to kind of dictate the flow of the game and call what he wants to call. Got to do a better job of trying to take away strengths and put guys in third and long scenarios, and also as meeting with Eric this morning, finding more ways to generate pass rush. I don't care what you do on the back end coverage wise. If you can't affect the quarterback and known passing downs at some point, someone's going to come available. So when it comes to finding some personnel grouping to get our guys in the best spot, keeping them fresh, so we can affect the quarterback on known passing and third down, was an area we talked about as far as moving forward. But as always, I'm gonna be obviously direct and honest, but there's no loss in optimism or in confidence in this group. We will kind of battle forward and keep obviously put this game to bed. But obviously, when they're building tomorrow, we'll talk about how to build forwards the rest of the season, starting with Minnesota on Monday Night Football. Questions?
All right, first question, Herb Howard.
Coach, you alluded to this in your open, but the energy was good in the building last week. The vibes were high. Why do you think that didn't translate to a more inspired performance on Sunday?
Yeah, I don't think it was lack of inspiration. I think there's a difference between being inspired and execution. I think our guys were definitely inspired. Like you said, the juice and energy was great in the building. Even from a pregame standpoint, in the locker room, those guys were in a great spot. But being motivated and being inspired and not executing will lead you to the result we got yesterday. So we've got to try to figure out how to be better as coaches and get a better result when it comes to execution.
Jason Leisure.
Hey, Thomas.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How was your in-game communication with Caleb different as head coach yesterday than it had been in the last few weeks? And as you continue to kind of work through this, how would you like to adjust it?
It was the same, other than I was obviously face to face. So I think I had a chance to immediately grab him off the grass, which normally I'm kind of waiting for him to sit down, decompress, and grab a headset when I was in the box. So I can immediately walk up to him, address anything I want to address with him. Also, just ask him his thoughts, just making sure he's good to go. Then obviously, right before we kind of go out to start the drive, I'll give him a preview of my first initial call, plus what I want to get to on second down, my third down thoughts, so he has an idea of what to expect in that drive. But as far as what we discussed, it was the same as it was before. It just happened faster, and obviously in real time because I was on the grass.
Nick Mariano.
Hey, Thomas.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good.
Leading up to the game, you talked about wanting to see physicality and violence from your group. After watching the tape, do you think you saw enough of that?
Not throughout the entire game. Obviously, we played a very physical football team, which I mean, they're have been a championship caliber team. But I think that at times you can see violence on both sides of the ball, even on special teams. It was probably the most consistent all day was on the special teams unit. But it wasn't consistent enough throughout the 4 quarters. And I think our overall goal is to, again, we talk about trying to figure out how to deploy guys in the right spot from a personnel standpoint on both sides of the ball. But that should be the standard for us moving forward as far as being a physical football team. That starts first with obviously being to be more effective when it comes to running the football on offense, but also not going to run it on defense.
Kevin Fishbane.
Hey Thomas, the third down sacks. I know each play is its own unique play, and obviously you guys want to be better in first and second down. But what common threads or what kind of things did you see when you looked at those that whether it was Caleb or the offensive line or what have you? Like what are some things that you saw popping up that were kind of causing those issues on third down?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the common theme is all of us. So that's probably not the response that you were hunting up. But I think again, just myself being critical from a play calling standpoint of how I sequence plays throughout the kind of the flow of the game to try to, figure out how to kind of stay a step ahead of the defense. But also again, it kind of all goes together when it comes to how you protect the quarterback, his rhythm and timing and pocket movement when the ball's distributed, but also us being able to win in the rhythm and timing so the ball can come out on time. As you mentioned, obviously all those third downs are kind of different when it comes to how it plays out coverage-wise of the concept that we had. But again, I know it does get redundant at times, but it is the truth when it comes to third down efficiency is most times directly correlated to what you do on first and second down.
Mark Grody.
At times, I know you talked about it being a great great week of prep. I know you talked about that yesterday and a little bit today here as well. But then why does it feel like in that first half, like it's such a mismatch in so many ways? And like, for example, George Kittle being op as open as he was on some of those plays. So what does it mean to have a great week of prep and then look like that in the first half of the game?
Yeah, again, like I said before, motivation, inspiration is different than execution. And so anything that showed up as far as the mismatch issues is not void of our guys not being prepared to go from an emotional standpoint to be in the right space or not being confident because they're extremely confident. Through the entire week. We've got to do a better job as coaches of making sure we're coaching the details the right way. And obviously, when it comes to the players, they got to do a really good job of executing. So it's definitely a collaborative process that we don't remove any responsibility from ourselves as coaches as far as what happens on the grass. It starts with us first, of us being able to put our guys in the right spot, have the right schemes, deploy them in the right time. And obviously, when it's time to make plays, our guys got to make plays on the grass.
Jason Leisure.
Hey, Thomas, I have two questions for you. One, this has been kind of coming up in bits and pieces in this press conference about the run game. And when you look at those third downs, those stalled drives early, it's a few 3rd and 7. It's where first and second down, you guys didn't get a lot going. It's one of the oddities of this season where this was one of the best running teams in the league the last 2 years. And now with a lot of carryover in personnel, it's not. Do you have any ideas or fixes that you think you can implement to get that going again over the last 4 games?
Yeah, I mean, the ideas that I have comes to us doing a better job of making sure our tracks are in line with what we're kind of blocking from a scheme standpoint up front. Obviously, at some point when it comes to being a ball carrier, things aren't going to always be perfect. So I think always the best backs are the ones that can create for themselves, which we have a really good one and have kind of a core group of guys as well. But when it comes to one-on-one opportunities, running through arm tackles, that's a part of being able to be effective in the running game. And obviously, previous years I can't attest to or talk about because obviously I wasn't here, but I do understand, what the numbers did say and did dictate. But our goal is going to be on what we can do right now, how to fix that problem, continue to try to find ways to remain balanced for us offensively.
My second question is a defensive question about the 49ers' first touchdown.
Mhm.
What happened on that play?
Just a miscommunication on the back end. So just had a play action pass. We didn't communicate well on the back end as far as who's matching three vertical, and had an opportunity for a pretty easy pitch and catch touchdown.
So who's responsible for Jennings on that play then?
The entire defense.
Okay.
Two more. Steve Leventhal. Maybe. Herb Howard.
Coach, obviously, George Kittle is a great player. He gets his numbers against most teams, but I imagine there was an emphasis placed on him throughout the week of preparation. Why was he able to be so open in the middle of the field, especially early on in the game?
Yeah. So every game we play, every opponent has really good players. And so the game plan is going to always be based on how you take away people's strengths. Obviously, like you mentioned it before already, he is a really good player. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we got to do a better job of how we communicate, of executing the game plan so we don't have those mishaps on the back end when it comes to guys being open. But also they have a number of different guys who can win and have success. And I think just being able to again have all those things kind of work in combination as far as our execution of eliminating some of the mistakes we had, but also keeping the other opponent off balance when it comes to knocking out their early down efficiency.
Nick Mariano.
Hey, Thomas, when just looking at the locker room as a whole and the culture that I think has been talked about for this team for a while now, what gives you confidence that the culture in this locker room is enough to kind of persevere through this current losing streak that you guys are on?
Because I believe in the people. And so I think it's all about the guys that we have in the locker room, the coaches that we have, and I understand our mentality and our approach going forward. As I said at the beginning, we don't have cowards in the locker room. We don't have cowards on our coaching staff. And so regardless of circumstance, we will come to battle every single day. We will not excuse or leave ourselves from the responsibility of doing our jobs to the best of our ability. And we'll continue to try to find a way to hunt up a better result.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Thomas.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.
You too.